Bet €10 with Boyle Sports today and get €30 in free bets. Boyle Sports, bring it on.
Day 4 of the Punchestown Festival sees a cracking renewal of the 2 mile champion hurdle. No Annie Power unfortunately, and Vroom Vroom Mag is coming in as something of a super sub. I'm Johnny Ward for the Irish Independent and I'm here with Niall Cronin, and we're going to very quickly go through the card, starting off with the local Hunters Chase, in which Shinavee is bidding to win it 3 times in a row and probably will, Niall.
He's 14 now, Johnny. He's not getting any younger. I thought Enniskillen comes back here after winning on Tuesday. I thought he could be very, very hard to beat for Peter Maher and Jamie Codd. It's so much even with Shinavee. He won it for the first time in 2009. If he can come back and win it again this year for 3rd year in a row, it'll be some going. But he's 14 now, and I'd be going with Enniskillen.
And we have a very competitive handicap chase, the second race of the card. The weights are headed here by Diamond King, who was quietly fancied at Cheltenham and was actually pulled up quite early when things were going a bit against him. I'm with Arbor de Vie here, who was brought down in the Irish National. Niall, this is a deep race, could make a case for a lot of them, and 4 each way places as well.
Yeah, it's good to have the 16 there for the each way players. It certainly is a competitive race. I'm going with Balk on the Flow, who ran a grade 1 at Cheltenham. Fell that day, was behind our Duke and Disco prior to that at Leopardstown. Again, he's fairly highly up in the ratings. Probably, wouldn't be winning a handicap off too many pounds higher than he's at the moment. But I just felt in a competitive race he has that bit of class, and that could count for him for Henry de Bromhead and Brian Cooper.
On to the third race, which is a handicap for mares, and again a lot of Willie Mullins choices for me today. I'm with Ratura in France, who ran quite well at Navan last time, having won her beginner's chase over a similar trip to today's. What do you like, Niall?
Yeah, it couldn't be a day at the Punchestown Festival without going for something for Jessica Harrington yard, and I thought Keppel's Queen had good enough form to run a nice race here, and might well be a decent price as well.
Now on to the big one, and as I said, Annie Power doesn't run, maybe she'll be retired. She's not going to run at Punchestown anyway, which is obviously sad to see, but Vroom Vroom Mag just might be able to step in for her. I feel stepping back in trip is going to help her. She obviously won this race last year as well. But Niall, again, you could make a case for quite a few horses.
Yeah, I was with Petty Mouchoir going into Cheltenham. I'm going to stick with him here. He finished 3rd that day. Mightn't turn out to be the worst champion hurdle of all time, like people talk going into the race. He's done it. He's done it in Ireland before. He didn't become a bad horse overnight. I think he's been a bit forgotten about. Obviously, the way Vroom Vroom Mag travelled into the race at Cheltenham, you would imagine this drop back in trip will help her. She won here this race last year. There's a lot of boxes to be ticked for her, but I'm just going to stick with Petty Mouchoir to book out, make the running, and hopefully not be caught.
And the novice hurdle is an absolute belter of a race. Finian's Oscar, with the form that the Potts, Tizard and Power triumvirate is in, going to be very hard to beat. Him was sensational at Aintree considering the position he was in, and Death Duty is obviously coming back from Cheltenham with a bit to prove, having flopped in the Albert Bartlett. Is it Finian's Oscar or Death Duty for you?
Finian's Oscar for me. But it's not just as simple as that. Willie's team horses, you could make, and David Mullins did in the hurl the other night, made a very strong case for each of Willie's, and you couldn't disagree with him. But
you can certainly back the second strings of Willie's with some confidence that they can run well at big prices as well.
Especially here, anywhere, at any stage during the season, but here more so than anywhere, because we spoke about it earlier in the week. You just don't know how horses are going to handle this time of the season after a long campaign. But Finian's Oscar, what an incredible horse. I didn't think he could, I wasn't sure he could win at Aintree because of what he was after doing. It can't be forgotten that he won his 4-year-old maiden point to point in October, went to sales in November, won for Colin Tizard in December, won a grade 1 in January, missed Cheltenham, and has come back to Aintree, won a grade 1 there, and I think he's going to win a grade 1 here today. It's fantastic.
I would agree with that, yeah. What a campaign Finian's Oscar has had, and he justified the faith and the money that Alan Potts put in him. Very trappy renewal of the Champion Hunters Chase, in which On the Fringe is bidding to win the race 7 years after he won it as a 5-year-old, despite the fact that he was a bit disappointing at Cheltenham and Aintree. I'm going to go with him, Niall, but with no great confidence.
Yeah, I just be siding with Ballinasloe. Again, wouldn't be having the house on him or anything like that, but you'd be thinking that Ballinasloe on the Aintree farm might just put it up to On the Fringe. It would be fantastic to see him win here, sign off a season which has been in the main a bit disappointing at Cheltenham and Aintree, but I think Ballinasloe might do it here over On the Fringe.
And it's going to be an exciting betting race as well. And on to the second last race, which is a trappy enough novice hurdle. Ruby had a choice of 3 here for Rich Ritchie and Willie Mullins. His choice was Riven Light, which is mine, but again, it looks a tough race to call, Niall.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to try and second guess, Willie or Ruby or any of that, but I'm going to go with Chateau Conti. But it is a very, very tentative selection in what looks a wide open race. There's 10 runners there. You could definitely make a case for 7 of them.
And on to the finale, Warren Greatrix and David Pye both have horses, which is rare enough. I think it's each of their first runners for the week. And I'm with Fleming's Kill, who's trained by Warren Greatrix. Niall, have you any strong opinion on the finale?
I thought it's all guesswork. Ran a nice race on debut over hurdles for Gordon Elliott. Came back, ran in a bumper, then won by some day. That was probably a hotter bumper than we knew at the time. Didn't really fire that day, but maybe on a bit of better ground, I'd say coming back for a bumper again. They think he's a nice horse. Stowaway Forever is in there for Philip Dempsey. Be hoping he can win it, but I think it's all guesswork. It's probably the horse to beat.
And that's it for day 4. Tomorrow is the final day, which is Family Day, and we're going to have an exciting renewal of the 4-year-old hurdle, and we'll talk to you then.
Bet €10 with Boyle Sports today and get €30 in free bets. Boyle Sports, bring it on.